Idea of Milk Mantra. So Milk Mantra, the idea came about to create a company that would balance both purpose and profit, to create a challenger brand that would also have a sustainable impact on a large community of farmers. So the idea came up when my husband and I, we were in London, living a good life, knew the trajectory of where we would go. But somewhere we felt that there was an opportunity in India, and this was in 2009, to really create a brand which would solve the consumer trust deficit with food. And this consumer trust deficit was the largest in the dairy sector. In 2009, which is almost more than a decade, there was no differentiation. A fundamental commodity like milk was highly commoditized. So we felt that there was an opportunity to really create, at the front end, a mass premium consumer brand and have strong linkages across the supply chain, own the whole supply chain, and set up a company which would be enthused with purpose and on the principles of conscious capitalism. So that was what we thought, and we left, and my husband persuaded me to join him to look after the brand and the people dimension. And that's how the idea of Milk Mantra came about. Purely from the market opportunity point of view, dairy is a huge category. It's a $50 billion category in India alone. And with less differentiation, it is a regional play. We had strong private brands in the rest of India. The East was vacant. So it accorded an opportunity to actually create a brand and offer the consumers a superior form or the actual form of nutrition and try and be the leading private dairy play in Eastern India. So we became India's first VC-funded agri-food startup in 2009.
How easy was the idea of picking up milk? Because it was such a commodity. Was there some ideas that you look beyond milk? And why Orissa?
You know, hindsight is a wonderful thing. So when I look back, once it's executed, all ideas seem so obvious. But at that time, from what we were looking at, the dairy is the only consumer category which has a huge play. It impacts large thousands of people, both at the front end and the back end. It is a daily consumption item. It is close to every family, and it has the power to impact the marginal farmer. I'll just take 2 minutes more to just explain. You see, most of the farmers in India are crop or paddy farmers. And so what that means is they work the whole year sowing the soil in the hope that they have a good harvest and they earn some money. Now that we all know depends on a lot of things. There are middlemen, there are vagaries of nature. So what it is like you work for the whole year and wait for your salary at the end of the year. It's like a lottery, whether you get it or not. But dairy is a fundamental cultural thing in India. So if you're able to contribute a small daily income to thousands of families in the farmer-rural ecosystem, you're able to accord large numbers of families basic economic dignity and access to really, have a shot at improving their lives and not just have agriculture and paddy as their mainstay. So from both ends, and also at that time, I think the sense was that, consumer consciousness has been increasing. The insight that time was that people would want and start asking more questions about the supply chain, about how they're impacting with their choices. So I think at that time, I'm trying to deconstruct. I'm sure it wasn't a eureka moment. We just woke up and said, let's just go and create a milk brand. Which everyone in our family was aghast at. Why have you studied? The idea was that we've studied and we all come up through middle-class families, done well, got an opportunity at a short of life. You're living in London, living the good corporate life, and if I can say it in Hindi, they said, "Aap sab kuch chhod ke doodh bechoge?" It was like very difficult to explain to everybody. It was seen like, how will the young people in the family look up to education if you're going to be selling milk?
And how did you land up in Orissa? And if you could share some anecdotal episode.
5 points that we will not do, and these are the 3 things that we will do and only do. So I think that led us back into the track, and then we went public in 2013. Now we're a listed company. And today we operate more than 385 stores across India. We just acquired a brand called Unlimited in South India as well.
I'll come back to you on what you learned and what you haven't. So Sanjesh, in your 2 decades plus career, you have helped companies across diverse sectors like retail, wholesale, FMCG, apparel, footwear, name it, you have done it. According to you, is there a need to redefine mode the way Buffett has described it in 1995?
So thank you and good evening, everyone. You put it up very well. So yes, 2 decades, but I think the last 10 years is where I have spent time with, I would say, the India mid-market segment, the aspirational Indian growing companies, because the first half was largely with the multinational. And between the 2 halves, I actually enjoy working with, the companies which are on high growth. Coming to your questions, I think when you look at businesses, I think to grow and build a successful business, every business has 1 or 2 modes. It could be on scale, it could be on competitive advantage, it could be on network. When I look back in time and when I talk about network, I think Jio was a classic example of cost and network. All of this packaged into maybe 1 year of time, right? But fundamentally, I think the way you scale up a business remains the same. When we look at some of the companies where I have done work, in fact, this morning I was with a large spice manufacturer, which was having a market share for the last decade, of 40% plus in Delhi, Rajasthan, MP, UP, the northern India belt. Today it slipped to number 4. And we were having a discussion that what is the cause of why you slipped to number 4, of course. And if you look at how you protect and defend your turf, the modes remain same. The principle, the way you apply it today becomes very different. So it's not fair to say, okay, I'm a successful business and therefore I don't need to do much. In my wisdom, when I see companies through the other lens, the challenge is if you take your eyes off innovation, let's say, I'll give you an example. I listen to a lot of songs, so I'll give you an example of Spotify or Gaana.com, right? Lots of subscribers. These companies have a shelf life of 3 to 7 years, most of their predecessors. Now, if these companies have to last, you've got 20 crore people listening to music every evening, but how do you make sure that that graph continues and you are not out of business one day? So to your question, I think the principles of moat remain same. The way you apply it is more with analytics, more with technology. I think that is changing. I'm a big believer of innovation, actually. Innovation in moat would be very important. So if you are not really asking what's the next best idea and why would my product not lose market share 2 years down the line, I think that's the space to watch out for.
Okay. Nikhil, you have a lot of clients coming from small businesses, running small businesses, coming from small towns. What is the sense that you have got in dealing with those clients? What is the kind of, are these like strong mode businesses, or are they very general, small, very niche kind of businesses where they don't have strong brands, but they have a strong business? What's the sense that you have got?
Thank you, and first of all, good evening, everybody.
Customers, the idea was to have a mass premium brand because the insight was India is not ready for super premium or highly premiumized categories. Anywhere which is a, 10, 15, at best 18% price differential is the sweet spot in which you can actually build a brand, invest in building that brand, and then obviously if I have to build that consumer love, it is not just about packaging or branding, it's about actually delivering on the promise, and that is about the product. So, like I said, in milk, it was about solving the trust deficit. So you can't just have a milk packet where you source everything disparately. So that was built into the ethos that we will start at the source to ensure that the best milk is collected. And in fact, getting farmer trust is far difficult than getting consumer trust because the marketing play is different. You have to work on very different levers. So that was really the whole playbook of the flywheel in terms of the initial way of how do you create that moat. And then once you have that, the focus was really in the initial years to create a cash flow beast. Unless we are generating that cash flow within the system, that flywheel does not start giving the energy momentum to the other aspects of the business.
So was that the reason that you chose to have a premium pricing, that the fact that you wanted to have a robust cash flow also coming along?
Yes, of course. I mean, at the end of the day, you want to build a business which has strong fundamentals. And the strong fundamentals is having a strong gross margin. And that gross margin in a category as milk, at least, I mean, every category has its own nuance. I mean, your ability to sustain and to, play the longer game will be to have that strong gross margin. That will only come in if you have consumer love. People will trust you when they're paying a slight premium and the product is delivering. So there's not one point, but it's saying you look at the whole piece together and balance it out.
So what's the gross margin that you currently enjoy, and what's the average?
Industry-leading gross margins.
Okay.
It is, and I think we are, obviously as a startup, I think it's 2 years ago, we are at a 10% profitability. The company is growing well, the brand is well established. So it's now the time when we're looking at seeing, what is the next phase. We also launched our own D2C milk subscription app because it was the most natural extension of our omni-channel approach. And because it is in sync with our business and not a separate business, we are already at unit economics positive from the time we started. So that has always been the core because everyone looks at milk as a very thin business margin, but for us, we say our milk itself is value added because of the premiumization that we have done. So it is not just milk and value add, our whole portfolio is value add for us.
Lalit, the fact that you chose a business, you got inspired by Shoppers Stop. You said that, but my playbook will be value retail. And when you talk of innovation, premiumization, it goes against the grain of value retail. So how are you playing that trade-off? You can't really become premium, then you lose the value retail tag. So how are you managing that?
So I think the innovation is not, the concept is not to sell cheap products. Value doesn't mean cheap. Value means value of the material per rupee, experience per rupee for the customer. And definitely the innovation is, it's a simple business. The innovation is doing that in a larger scale, doing that along with digitalization, keeping that basic content and the basic instinct alive, understanding the aspiration of people very well, more and more, because the way people's aspiration have gone up, the way their thought process have gone up, the way youth population in India has gone up, the way technology has brought in, flooded them with information, with trends, the way the fashion has got bridged. How do you understand that much more in this diverse country, where every 100 kilometers you've got a different set of language, the people's eating habit, or the wearing pattern, and the festivals, and the seasonality, and the sizes. So there is a lot of diversity in India, and that's how this India is built up with almost 50% population, women population, who wear traditional clothing, which is traditional to the state, within the state to the particular plant and particular geography where they are based out of. So how do you innovate in understanding those data, in collecting those data, in automating things so that the entire supply chain and the forecasting, allocation, management of the team, management of finding the right store, opening the right store, constantly engage the customer and give the customer that kind of clear-cut thought that they are the smartest ones shopping with V-Mart. And so that's the whole innovation that you need to drive, along with largely the organizations like us who's come from below. There is always a level, and there are levels where you've got 1,000 information workers, and then you've got 2,000 people, and the 5,000 people. So you need to constantly innovate in the way you manage your business, manage your organization, you manage your fund flow, you manage your investors. So you need to build processes, people, technology, innovatively align them so that you are able to take your journey from here to there. That's what is the key mantra for your success, because always the key mantra can't be only product or the innovation on the product. It has to be definitely more innovation in the way you manage your show, in the way you handle this whole ecosystem where the vendors, employees, customers, they all create value, and we make them feel proud that they are associated with us.
Sanjesh, you closely work with small regional entrepreneurs. So do they have plans to go big? And when they have, and when they seek you out, what is it that you advise them? And where often do they tend to go wrong in the chase to grow?
So that's a good question. And you know, if I apply that on retail consumer space, which is companies in, let's say, footwear, apparel, some bit of food, mattress companies, I think the good thing is most Indian companies today, most Indian promoters are very focused on growth, and not just growth any which ways which is not sustainable. I think there is enough water which has flown under the bridge over the last 2 decades, and I think people are very conscious about sustainable growth. So I think people are very careful. I also don't hear too many people saying, oh, by the way, you know what, I'm an India-based company, 600 crores, I want to go to Middle East. Lot of focus on mining the opportunity in India. But I'll tell you where I personally don't see a lot of investment is on talent. And I think when we look at growth, right, it's very easy to say, like I gave you the example of spices. For those of you who understand food, spices is a regional play. The biggest spice company in India is worth 1,000 crores. You know, everybody else is 100 to 1,000 crores, right? But we don't have a national spices brand. I mean, we do have 1 or 2, but not really leading for the last decade or so. The reason is because, in my view, when I look at some of the challenges, aspiration linked to innovation around technology, and I think Lalitji spoke about technology, talent, those are very important pieces. Today, if I have to grow a business of 100 crore to 200 crores, aspiration is there. When I look at most companies that I consult, trust me, today, capital is not a problem. Dream, ambition, not a problem. Bandwidth of the leadership team is also not a problem. Advisor capability is also not a problem. I think so all these are there. I think where the problem is you do not have people to lead that growth, and therefore today a lot of our discussions with some of these companies to say, abhi bandwidth nahi hai, isko agle saal karenge. And that means financial bandwidth is actually the leadership bandwidth which is not there. So I genuinely think the human capital has been often ignored in some of these companies, and it will be great to see that box getting ticked, as I look at some of these companies. To my mind, if I have to choose one, it's the leadership capability to take the company to the next level. Lucky are those companies that have leaders, not just the entrepreneurs, but the next level of leaders who can actually sustain growth. Lalitji spoke about 300 stores, right? 370 stores. What do we need to take the company to 1,000 stores? Who will take those companies? Where is the leadership pipeline? I think those are fundamental questions that I see business struggle with.
Sanjay, just one point I want to make here, and most of the entrepreneurs are sitting here. I just want to mention, and I've gone through the journey, and for all of that, what you spoke, mostly entrepreneurs become a bottleneck. Mostly we entrepreneurs hold ourselves back. We have our own aspiration, we have our own habits, we have our own processes where we don't delegate too much, we don't take risks on delegation, we don't let it go, and there will be leaders who will fail, who will learn, fail, and then build businesses. So we need to have that patience to let them fail and then build them as a good leader. Because leaders can't get born from the mother's womb.
Yeah. And I would just like to make a quick comment there. Today, when I say today, right now, I'm actually advising 2 companies where the problem statement given to me by the promoter is the business is growing 20% to 25% CAGR in that food space. It's a S4HANA company, okay? But the leader in that organization still wants to check vouchers of 5,000 to 10,000. And when I look at that situation, it's not a good situation because you want to really delegate to the point on delegation. So you have to have that appreciation kit. Technology is there. You can build controls and reports that you want to see every morning. That if there are things which are not right in your, let's say, Moradabad plant, you'll get to know here sitting in Delhi. So faith in technology, faith in the next level of leadership, delegation, I think those are important areas to sort of declutter your own bandwidth.
So I think the one attribute that goes into moat is also, keeping up with the times, and I'm running short of, I'm already overboard. But I will take a quick last comment on, what is that one single thing that will go behind making a strong moat? business. So I would want each of you, I mean, Nikhil, you could start off, then Lalit.
No, I think one strong moat that you think, like I said, I'll go back to what I was saying. Read the mega trends early on. How does it impact your specific industry? Today, if I look at mega trends, you call them actually creative destruction, right? So you've got to embrace them. Now, whether that's, from my side, for instance, what I can read as an early trend is ESG, SDG, they're all here to stay. And they're going to be massively disruptive. They're also going to create huge wealth. It's just for us to read early on. Now, in terms of how I link it to banks, how they're reading this, sustainability risk is here to stay. Right now, the banks don't attach a premium to it. So polluting, non-polluting, it's not a big difference. And it's only a negative filter right now. But it's a matter of time where there will be penal clauses potentially lining up. So a lot of those businesses, if they can read these trends early on, will realize. Now, a classic point I can draw is how the fund managers in our industry are reacting today. So 3 years back, if they were to come, nobody was interested in the ESG part of their funds, right? And today, even if it's a non-ESG fund, they're definitely making it a point to say that my ESG score is 80%, which means my company is 80% ESG compliant. So I think read these trends, and for me, that will be a big...
sustainability, is that for you?
No, I think, being customer-centric is the most important mode, I think. And for me, this business that I'm doing in this business in Bharat. And I think Bharat has huge potentiality. There is a huge opportunity for our country to grow, consumption to grow. We've got such a large potentiality to become bigger. Every one of us, there's a huge potentiality for us to just anticipate big things, look ourselves to that mode, invest in the right areas, and believe in our story, and become customer friendly and centric, so that we are able to drive this growth regularly.
Yeah,
Yes, I mean, I'm not going to repeat, wholeheartedly agree with what has been said by Lalit earlier, but I think the time has come for the focus to shift from the economic modes to the non-economic modes, which is the human aspect of it, and we need to be very intentional about the culture, the space, and weaving in purpose and economics in businesses now, because I think fundamentally all of us, our equation with work and what we want from it has changed. So probably this era is going to define that.
Sanjesh.
Very simple from my point. I think it's just innovation, innovation, innovation. I think the culture of innovation, if we can even get it to the extent of 30% in most businesses, where you start your business meeting in any format that we're doing. We could be a FMCG company or an apparel company or a footwear company. I think if we can build the culture of innovation in our leadership, that will sort of protect the turf for a foreseeable future.
On that note, thank you, panelists,
Thank you
for an enlightening discussion. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
So much. Thank you. Thank you so much to our esteemed panelists. May we request you to please stay back on stage, our panelists. May we request you to please kindly come back on stage. Thank you for that enlightening discussion full of insights. May I take the opportunity to invite Mr. Arun Singh, Business Head, Fortune India, to kindly felicitate our esteemed panelists. I think they have gone ahead and given us some great insights. So, we have a token of appreciation for all of you. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you to our panelists. Thank you. One for our moderator also, sir. Thank you so much. I think all in all, a very enlightening discussion on how to build strong moat businesses. Thank you so much to our esteemed panelists for their presence. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, may I quickly take the opportunity to invite on stage Mr. Joyesh Sinha, Head Enterprise Lenovo India, for his presentation. To tell you a little about Mr. Sinha, he's been with Lenovo for more than 16 years. His journey started back in 2006 from IBM and then transitioned with Lenovo. May I take the opportunity to please call upon stage everybody with a round of applause, Mr. Joyesh Sinha, Head Enterprise, Lenovo India.
I think good evening all. The AV is taking a little time. So while AV is coming up, I collected some of the points and some of the great discussions. I just picked up some of the phrases. Innovation of modes, Sanjay told, right? Then protect and attack. Nikhil connected how the technology is playing a role today in a car racing, right? Then I see something talking about the technology disruptions, sustainability, adoption technology, right? Or constant evolving, mega trends, ESG trends, technology as, technology as creating a lot of data and how the data can build your next generation of innovations, right? So lot of these words which I can see, and it's all linked with the innovations and all linked with the technology. So what I'm going to take you through in the next 5 to 7 minutes is how that technology is playing a role today for this whole innovations. So thank you, Fortune, and welcome everyone. I'm just waiting for the AV to come up. The question starts, what's next? And that's the most interesting journey. So we as Lenovo, we envision a world where every individuals or any business houses using the technology to innovate and transform the next level of innovations. So if I look at that today, as I said, the panelists talk about the sustainability and the smart. So it is all a smarter future. How do we move into the smarter future, right? Bhagav, can you just transition the slide next? Okay. This is not working, so I'll just take a help of yours. So if you look at the smarter technology for all, right? What it talks about is we as Lenovo today is here to provide a technology for everyone, right? It is starting from the devices line to go into a data center, infrastructure side, to move into a industry outcome-based solutions. And if I look at, you can pick up that smarter devices today, like smart devices, smartphones, PCs, laptops, right? Then you have a smart infrastructure which is talk about the cloud, AI, ML, big data, data analytics, right? Technology disruptions in terms of the blockchain. So many things are there, right? And Lenovo is present in everywhere. And then it comes to the smart verticals. We have the industry outcome verticals like a smart manufacturing. We have seen that video. You have seen that the smart retail. It is a retail where no human intervention is there. It's an all automated process, right? That's how the industry is moving, right? We have seen that smart education. Last 2.5 years, everybody has the biggest learnings which we had, that how to make the business or how to communicate virtually. We are so used to have a one-to-one connections. Schools, the students, right? They have moved into that. So that is where, you know, our play in the smart educations. Now, in all this, it's covered under the umbrella of our services. So it's not that what we are providing as a solutions, we are providing this as a services. When I say this is services, it's a services as a devices to start, to go into the manage, where Lenovo will not only implement, monitor, and then also provide you the outcomes of that, right, based on your requirements, and obviously the smart verticals, which can deploy, right? We talk about the retail. So in that retail, how do we ensure that what is the CX experience? So today I just give you an example quickly. One of the large shoe manufacturer, in their retail stores, they have implemented the applications, or rather the sensors, which talks about and which finds that how the users are reaching in a store, which rack they are moving, what product they are picking up, and what is the response on that product, whether they are buying it or they are keeping it back. Now this analysis, this data gives you back that what are the racks, what are the products I need to target and where to place. It's experiences which is created, and the users are coming back repeatedly into that stores. So that's where the whole services plethora comes, and Lenovo is into that, can provide everything into that services under the umbrella of services. Can you move to the next slide? We talk about the sustainability. Now, ESG 80% scores, as mentioned, that is the key factor for which is I'll say what it's a key factor for an organization to look at the next level. Now, what is ESG? It's environmental, social, and governance. Probably what we look at is this is going to be the next level of our technology disruptions. The organizations who are focusing on the ESG is going to not only attract more large investors, it is also going to build the value for their stakeholders, which is very key to today all the organizations to grow the next level, to make a big jump into the next level. So on the environmental, it is typically like on the clean energy, we found that the one sided the house is the clean energy, but the other side is they're using the natural resources. So it is a clean energy, waste management, and the natural, how to save the natural resources. Social responsibility, we all know that how we are going to give back to the society, right, from our earnings and profits, and the governance. Everybody knows, right? So this is something which is one of the major focus for Lenovo going forward, and that is one of the very interesting. So where Lenovo stands as under ESG. So you see a lot of data are here mentioned. So a small video will help you to understand that how the Lenovo is also contributing in this ESG. Can you play the AV?
Smarter technology for all means we're working to build a brighter, more sustainable future for all. How do we plan to do that? First, we're working to help mitigate climate change. In 5 years, 90% of our global operations electricity will be obtained from renewable sources, and we'll remove 1 million tons of greenhouse gas emissions from our supply chain. By 2030, we'll cut Scope 1 and 2 emissions in half and decrease our emissions intensity throughout the value chain by 25%. We're increasing our participation in the circular economy through innovations in our supply chain and product design. By 2025, 76% of returned PC parts will be repaired for future use, and we'll recycle and reuse 363 million kilograms of end-of-life products. we're using more sustainable materials and reducing waste with game-changing product and packaging design. In 5 years, we'll use post-consumer recycled materials in 100% of our PC products, 90% of our PC plastic packaging, and 60% of our smartphone packaging. And finally, we're designing to meet the diverse needs of our global customers. By 2025, 75% of Lenovo's products will be vetted by inclusive design experts from the Product Diversity Office, ensuring our products work for everyone, regardless of background or ability. We know that with these steps, we can create a brighter, more sustainable future for all.
So this is where Lenovo is playing today. There are a lot many things under this ESG. There are a lot many services which we can provide today, starting from the CO2 offset to your asset disposal, to a lot of many things which can help you to score your ESG points. The last slides, which I'm going to talk more of, we say that today what is important to focus on my core business rather than moving the other part, which is key enabler for you to move to the next level of growth, which is IT. So Lenovo as organizations for you can provide that services on everything as a service, starting from the data center to your endpoints. And that is where it gives free your bandwidth, free your the resources to focus on the core businesses so that you can grow in there. And we manages your latest technologies, which helps you to go and do the innovations, because the data are so critical today for that, making new strategies and to move on to new innovations or a next level of jump in terms of the growth. So this is what it says, the TruScale. We name it as a TruScale. We can talk more on the offline, but this is basically is everything as a service. What you ever ask for, it is pay as you grow, or you pay what you use. That's how it is stands. Having said that, I just wanted to show you, I'd rather tell you that Lenovo is into the pocket to cloud, which is basically starting from the device which can fit into the pocket, and it can take to the technology which is residing in the cloud. Can you play the next level of the video?
Lenovo TruScale. Everything as a service. For the first time, you can plan, procure, and manage your entire IT environment from a single source. Secure on-premise deployment with cloud-like on-demand consumption. Simple, manageable, predictable, scalable. TruScale builds on Lenovo's global reach and powerful collaborations. It delivers the complete suite of IT solutions. From the pocket, to the smart device, to the edge, to the core, to the cloud, to your data center. Lenovo TruScale. IT that scales as it drives your business growth. Everything as a service. And we mean everything.
So that's what pocket to cloud. Just quickly move to the next slide, because there's already a... I just wanted to connect because there is a comment came in that how the the racing happens today. So Lenovo is a technology partner in the F1, and we all know how the F1 racing happens. The kind of data which works for a F1 racing, today it is not the driver or the car, it's a data which helps the driver to win that race. And that's what the Lenovo is there. They are the F1 partner, for the technology partner for delivering the race. That's all it from my side. I'm available. We can catch up offline.
Thank you so much. Mr. Sinha, may I request you to please stay on stage. Mr. Arun Singh, Business Head, Fortune India, to kindly felicitate Mr. Sinha. Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for that insightful presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you on behalf of Fortune India. Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fortune India's The Next 500. Thank you so much for joining us. And moving on, may I also take the opportunity to thank our presenting partner, Lenovo India. We are powered by HSBC. Our time partner, Frederick Constant, hospitality partner, the Lalit, marketing partner, Creatiges, and our telecast partner, ET Now. Thank you so much for making this summit happen. Moving on, we head into a panel discussion that is of prime concern to emerging companies. The discussion is going to be about the talent challenge. How to retain talent, how to get high quality talent to move from metros to non-metros where most of the emerging companies are stationed. So, to take this forward, may I call upon stage our moderator. Please give it up for Miss Ajita Shashidhar, Editor-at-Large, Fortune India. She's moderating the discussion. And ma'am, may I request you to please invite our panelists.
Thank you, Sonam. I won't take much time and I'll call the panelists up right away. My first panelist is Ms. Bhuvana Subramaniam, CMD, Randstad, India. Welcome. Mr. Binu Rajendran, Director, Walkaroo. Thank you. Mr. Vidya Sagar, CMD, Adecco, India. And Mr. Dinesh Thakkar, CMD, Angel One. Thank you so much, first of all, for coming all the way to Delhi to participate in this panel discussion. I really appreciate it. So, the Great Talent Challenge. So, I'm told that it's not just retaining talent, but it's also, it's not just attracting talent, but it's also retaining talent, which has become a big challenge in Tier 2, Tier 3 India, the companies which are headquartered in Tier 2, Tier 3 India. So, I would first like to hear from all of you. So I would first like to hear from all of you. Maybe we could start with you, Bhuvana. How acute is the talent challenge in Tier 2, Tier 3 India?
It is pretty acute, I would say, and it started off actually, I mean, I don't know how many of us remember the 2000 War of Talent, right? It started then, and it has been in some form or shape in many, many industries, mostly in IT industry and the larger ones. And and it's just reached such an acute stage, and it kind of crept up right after, like through the pandemic, and right after the pandemic, and we're still there. But I think it's kind of crept up to become extremely, like the virus itself, right? It's become part of every organization, every industry is going through the talent crunch. And I think we were just having the casual talk is like, the skilled talent has always been an issue in India, right? So that's something that all of us know and acknowledge. There has been a drain for many, many, many years to the West. That's something that many, I think the country as it is has not addressed largely, and then organizations are getting into it now, taking it a lot more seriously when it has become at most acute, I would say.
Mr. Rajendran, you're headquartered in a Tier 2 city, which is Coimbatore. So it'll be interesting to hear from you as to what kind of challenge do you face? How acute is it?
Yeah, so good evening. We are a manufacturing company, and that too a footwear manufacturing company. So to that extent, all along it was mostly standalone manufacturing units that we've had right from 2013 upwards. And at that point of time, it was not much of an issue. But at some stage, we've decided to consolidate and start putting together a roadmap for a route to the public, going public and all that. That's when we started recruiting talents which are of mid-level and senior level. Until then, it was all driven by the promoters per se. So at that point of time, that is which I'm talking of for the last 2 years, where we slowly started consolidating. That's when we've really started having problem in getting the right talent, especially for the mid-level and the senior level management team. Most of our factories are in industrial estates, and we were operating out of Calicut in Kerala. So we realized that that was a challenge, and then we shifted to Coimbatore. Now we realize that Coimbatore is also a bottleneck. So at least when we're talking of designers, product managers, brand managers, etc. So we are now thinking of having one more office somewhere else so that we can sort of handle this. But definitely that's an issue that we have.
Mr. Vidyasagar, as an expert, what would you have to say? Because you...
I think there are
it's a twofold challenge, right? There's one is indeed the availability in terms of quantity of talent, but I think there's a bigger challenge in terms of quality of talent. And I think that's where most companies are struggling today, of getting that right quality at the right time and at the right place, be it in tier 1 or tier 2 or tier 3 cities. And I think the onus is much more on both the educational system, but also on organizations such as companies which are setting up shop to ensure that they dedicate time and energy and resources to help train talent. Because I think without those training things being delivered, I don't think we will ever bridge the talent gap in India. I think that's a real issue that we have.
Mr. Thakkar, unlike Mr. Rajendran, who's headquartered in a place like Coimbatore, you're headquartered in Mumbai, and it's the other way around. You're spreading your wings to tier 2, tier 3 India. So it'll be interesting to hear from you. Do you find it challenging to attract talent in these markets?
Sure. See, first of all, thank you very much for this invitation and being a part of this. I'm very grateful. We are a fintech company. So like in 2019, we were a kind of a like digital company using technology to give service for financial services. So we used to find it very difficult to recruit people, talented people, especially from technology and all that. So I believe it comes from a mindset of a promoter who believes that if he has brought a capital on the table, he will dictate the terms. And I rightly agree with previous panelist, Mr. Thakur, that we have to, as a promoter, we have to recognize human capital is very important. They are a part of the success. So for example, normally a company with a good vision also would be growing at a CAGR of 14-15%. And if you get a right kind of a human talent, easily that company can grow at a CAGR of 24-25%. Difference is that in 10 years, the company who's growing at the CAGR of 14-15% will be 4x in 10 years. And a company growing at a CAGR of 24-25 would be 10-11x. So additional 6 and 7x is created by this human capital. The day you realize that, recognize this, and you make them partner in your business, I don't think attracting talent is a challenge. For example, last year we were able to attract a CEO who had worked in US for 21 years, worked with Amazon, Google, and was head of engineering of Uber and Ola. We were able to attract him and bring him to India just because we were able to give him a kind of like partnership. I believe it comes from mindset of a promoter that if he has brought in capital, it is like in my childhood days, when we used to play cricket, जो bat लेके आता था वो captain हो जाता था. It was not on meritocracy. So today we have to realize that growth is going to come from this contribution from this human capital, from these professionals. Once you recognize that and reward them properly, I don't think it's a big challenge now.
So, I mean, I write a lot on HR, so when I speak to all HR professionals and CEOs of companies, especially in tier 2, tier 3 India, a lot of them tell me that, a great part of the talent challenge is because of the promoter mindset, as you just mentioned. And, they tell me that the promoters usually, especially the legacy promoters, are, they are very closed. They don't want to let go of. And, and they kind of trust, they have major trust issues. And they only kind of want to empower people who they really trust, which is a small coterie kind of a thing. So, and that kind of frustrates professional talent and they kind of leave the workforce. So Binu, it'll be interesting to hear from you as to, what can one do to break that mindset? What kind of mindset change would promoters need to undergo in order to attract the right kind of talent?
Yeah, so we've heard the earlier panelists also talk about the need for a promoter to sort of start thinking differently. Mr. Dinesh was also saying the same thing. We as an organization, I think, are better equipped to say that because among the group of 7 of us who've started this one, except for 2, all the others are outside the family. And right from the beginning itself, there was a very clear intent that we have to create an institution rather than an organization per se. So I think there was a very clear roadmap that was created as part of that. And probably that's one of the reasons why we've started looking at consolidating, bringing in talent from outside. So definitely promoter talent is a roadblock, but then the right promoters would definitely help nurture the talent, and they would definitely want to step out. I can actually quote an example here. So earlier, each one of us were running one unit. Each of the units were about 100, 150, 200 crore business. And then we realized that we need to consolidate. So the 6 of us stepped back, and we've identified 6 people from each of the units, put together a team and said, you run the business now. And we mentor them. We mentored them for a period of over 2.5 years. And then that stabilized. Now we are going for the next level. We are sort of consolidating at the corporate level. So this is the, I believe this is a good example to cite as far as the mindset change is concerned.
Mr. Vidyasagar, what kind of mindset change do you think promoter-driven businesses in Tier 2, Tier 3 India need to undergo in order to, become attractive employers?
I think that I have a slightly different view on this topic, because I do believe that a promoter-led business works much more with a long-term mindset towards strategy and developing a business over time. Yeah? So they are not subject to quarterly requirements of the street, for example. They can take a longer view and build out a business going forward. I think the thing that needs to be complemented with that is how am I going to build leadership capability that is going to take this company beyond me and what I stand for? And how do I build that culture within the organization that the ethos with which I started this organization continues on? I think we heard from Rishmi about how this profit with purpose is a key part of how she started the business. The question is, how do you instill that same belief in the next generation of leadership? So I think it's that culture which needs to get cascaded down, and I think that will automatically make sure that the next generation of leadership will continue the thing. So to me, a promoter-led business comes with a lot of advantages. That is, for me, primarily about a long-term strategy. And now couple that with embedding culture deep into the organization, I think that's a recipe for success.
So Bhuvna, what kind of changes, does one need to bring about in HR policies? Especially for an organization headquartered in Tier 2, Tier 3 India, and more importantly, would those policies need to be different from what a large, company with a national presence has?
Yeah, absolutely, Ajita. I think, all of us have been the most agile in the last 2.5 years as far as policies are concerned. Things are changing every day. There are policies created around work from anywhere. It's not even work from home anymore. It's work from anywhere. I know of organizations which have given that flexibility to work from home forever, right? So those are changes that are happening not just in Tier 2, 3 towns. Every HR is kind of making that across organizations, across towns as well. But it's also about how do you continue to recognize the talent. Like just because you're away from that headquarter, typically there is that, FOMO thing that creeps in the Tier 2, Tier 3 town talent, and how do you keep them engaged in your larger activities? Of course, virtual helps, technology helps, but is the leader investing time to go and meet that talent there? Are they making those visits? Are they encouraging? And I think the previous panelists also talked about empowerment. Are you empowering the local leaders to take care of their own people? Are you giving them enough budgets? Are you treating them equitably? All of that. So those are the things that you take the problem and then design the policy. It's not anymore that there is a manual and then you go through the manual and then you're dictating it to your HR department and your people in the HR department. So there are lots of changes around leave, around paternal leave also, right? That's also come about. Work from anywhere. There's a lot of health policies that have made changes have come about in the health policies, and also about the benefits that you give. Earlier organizations would, kind of see a different benefit depending on where you kind of took your job. Like Tier 1 towns would get more benefits, more salary, but now it's kind of, that is changing as far as there is a pay parity discussion that is happening in organizations. So I think across, the organization strategy, right, it's not just HR policies alone. It's every individual, every leader is a HR person today in organizations. So they have to take care of the people, the human touch That's something that we call. And it's not just about providing technology. It's not about just providing money. It's not about just giving them the extra, bonus or something like that. Employees are seeing much beyond that. They've gone beyond all that. Are you driving a purpose? Is your organization aligned to a CSR, thing? Are you even giving value back to the society? Are you taking care of the ecosystem that they are in and not just feeding into tier 1 towns? So there's so much that is happening around policies, and there's more to come is what I would say.
The other question I'm very curious to know is attracting younger people into the workforce. So I'm told that, I was just having a conversation with Rashima the other day, and she was telling me that, hiring and retaining younger talent is a big challenge for most tier 2, tier 3 companies. And, when she goes to hire on a campus, students even ask her, like, in a place like Bhubaneswar or Cuttack, do you have a microbrewery? That also is a consideration for them. So, Mr. Thakkar, since you are spreading your wings there, what are you doing to attract younger talent?
Sure. First of all, I think major attraction after COVID was that we changed lots of policies, like work from anywhere was a major attraction, so that they can work from whichever place they would like to. They can pursue their passion and save on their commuting time and all that. Second, we run lots of hackathons where we come out with lots of kind of problem statements where youth are able to participate without being a part of our family or being recruited. So that is how they are attracted to see that, okay, what kind of challenges there are in the company and how attractive this job is. So youth especially, they want to participate, they want to see that whether I would add value to your company, and that is how we are able to attract lots of talent. So we run lots of diversity programs where we are able to attract people from different tiers and all that. Today, as we speak, we have almost 2,000 people out of 4,000 people who are from more than 1,000 pin codes. If you look at all this youth now, they are at the age group of around 26 to 28. So I think most important is that giving them freedom to work from anywhere, having some kind of collaborative centers, like we have co-working space everywhere where they can come, they can have fun, what you said about. So it is not there restricted that you have to come to office, clock in and clock out. Swiping cards I think that trend has gone. They can come, they can have fun, they can have discussion, and they can enjoy their work while they are contributing to the work. That are the major changes that I think have helped us to attract lots of youth.
Mr. Rajendran, what are you doing to attract, fresh talent, freshers? I remember you telling me about, focusing a lot on your employer brand. So does that really help in attracting as well as retaining fresh talent?
Yeah, it definitely helps. In fact, I still remember probably the second round when we went for campus placement. The year before, we had advertised in IPL. So, I didn't really have to struggle much to explain about the company or whatever it is, because they've seen Walkaroo there, and then Amir Khan comes, and thereafter, we've also realized the importance of that. And second one, which I've also noticed is the earlier batch we normally carry with them, we take them along with us to the campus when we go. And when they talk about their experience, which again is one form of branding again, so that also helps. So over a period of time, initially I think the response was very poor, but then over a period of time, the last 4 or 5 years, I must say that we've been able to build a very, a robust brand for Walkaroo as such among the campus, especially when we are trying to recruit MBA grads and engineering grads. But otherwise, it's mostly for production and all. It would typically be the walk-ins and all that, so it should not be much of an issue. But the slightly, higher skill talent, definitely branding helps.
So do they ask you questions about having a microbrewery or?
Well, they didn't, but my daughter asked when I was sort of, relocating to Coimbatore from Bangalore. So she was very unhappy about it, and she said, there's no fine dining restaurants there. So, what is this? So definitely it must be the same for the others as well.
Yeah, to me, I think we need to understand that every young person is looking for progress. Correct? I think that's what they're looking for. They're looking to make progress financially. They're looking to make progress from a societal perspective, and they're looking to make progress from a learning and development perspective. I think the key question is, how do companies in tier 2 and tier 3 cities offer that progress? And I think we should also remember that India is not just tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. We have many, many more cities and towns that are out there where there is big talent. The key question is, can we tap into that talent and train them and bring them back into tier 2, tier 3 cities where industry is growing now? And I think that's a sustainable model of enabling progress and then also getting talent and grooming them into relevant careers over time.
Bhuvna, it'll be interesting to hear from you about diversity. I mean, that's a big question, which is conversation happening in every boardroom in India Inc. And if I'm not mistaken, it's in the smaller towns where diversity is particularly of concern. So how important is it to have a diverse workforce? And what do organizations, especially in tier 2, tier 3, need to do to attract more and more women into their work?
Yeah, diversity, of course, is all kinds of diversity, Ajita. It's not just women, right? And but there is that societal thing that is keeping the women in the house and not letting them work or not getting them married off. Like, we are all very privileged here and we don't go through that. But there are many, many women who still go through that thing of getting permission from their men at home to even step out. That still exists in India. But I think education is the key, and if organizations are able to partner, and this is the public-government partnership, take education to those smaller towns, get them educated. The minute they get educated, then the women also see the opportunities and they're able to speak up as well at home. Like, the women have to speak up as well. It's not a men thing that they are not allowing us. There is a conditioning that has happened over years, and it is the responsibility of both men and women to break that barrier. And it's not just the men who can do that, right? The women have to take responsibility for that. Organizations can play a huge role by offering, many roles that are doable for those kind of women who have to create that balance, right? They have to balance. We can't take away that they have to take care of their family. We can't pull them out and say, it's not about being a rebel and being a feminist and saying that we want to get them out and we want them in the factories or we want them in the education system and then, get them to start working from tomorrow at 9 a.m. That's not the objective here. It is about creating that ecosystem. It's about enabling that ecosystem to also do what they have to do both at home and at work as well. So you could identify roles that are doable in those tier 2, tier 3 towns. You could give them a lot more flexibility to work, maybe the second shifts or work whatever flexible hours. I think those are smaller things that can actually change the dynamics in these towns for women and any diversity for that matter. And I think that ratio can be changed very quickly. And start young is what I would say. Start in colleges. And I think most of us know the dropouts of engineering graduates in the IT industry from women's side is very, very high when it comes to that mid-management section, right? In the beginning, they're very enthusiastic. Even in tier 1 towns, it's not a tier 2, 3 problem at all. It's tier 1 towns also. The marriage happens and there's so much other responsibility. It's about how much organization invests in diversity. It's not about rolling out programs. It's about having those conversations. It's about enabling them. It's about telling them what kind of career opportunities they can have even after having a break, not to kind of differentiate when they come after a break. I think those are measures that organizations can take to improve the diversity in, across India is what I would say.
Mr. Rajendran, what's your diversity strategy? What are you doing to get more women into the workforce?
So as Bhuvna rightly said, diversity is not just only the gender diversity, it's being inclusive in all aspects. But we've not had any issue as far as getting women and getting them to stay with us. We have quite a lot of long-standing people who across functions. So, and not just in white collar, but as well as in the blue collar also. And probably the first thing is the way that they are being treated at work, definitely, and the policies being equal is something which once they know that, I see no reason why they should not be sort of joining. So we've not essentially have had any problem in that.
Okay. So I think just one parting comment from all of you would be interesting. Mr. Thakkar, we can start with you. How important is to have talent? I mean, how important is it to have good talent to retain and attract talent in a tier 2, tier 3 market?
As I said, that talent is very important. If I look at like a company, as I said, especially in companies like us who is into fintech, for us human capital is very important. And as we rightly said about ethnic diversity is very important for us to attract not only local talent but global talent. And in fact, we run lots of programs to attract women who have stopped working, who have taken a break for maternity and all that. So we started this program which we called Unpause with Angel One. And in 2 weeks, we have got almost 700 applications. So what is important, because of change of kind of policies that we are allowing them to work from anywhere, they are interested to come back. So we run lots of kind of like training program, tech talks, so they get confidence to really work in a technology company. So we believe like it is not that only technocrats can contribute to a fintech company like ours. It is people who have domain knowledge, people who have worked in kind of like financial services, especially women who are actually instrumental in terms of saving and taking decisions on finance of a home. They contribute a lot in terms of ideas which engineers require about giving right solutions and all that. So if you look at our company, like in these 2 years, wherever we were, like we were around 12 to 13% of our workforce was women. Today we have around 34% women working with us in all leadership kind of hierarchy. So what I believe is that once we change a kind of like regulation, what is important is for a company to track contribution from people who are working for you. So today we don't look at, like as I said, clock in and clock out. What we look at is that when we give a project to a group, so we track their progress milestones through using a technology platform like Slack, GitHub and all that. So that encourages like women to work at any time, be flexible in terms of when they want to work. They can want to work on weekends or weekdays. So that we don't really insist that what time they should be working, from where they should be working. So that has helped us to attract lots of talent. And because of diversity, we are able to serve customer across like country. Today, we are serving customer from almost 98% PIN code in India through digital platform, of course. But like we have seen that lots of new people have joined us and used our platform because we are able to give lots of solutions which are issues to niche audience in some PIN code in tier 2, tier 3. We may feel that tier 2, tier 3 understand financial service properly, but for them even small like kind of language that we use is a big problem that we understand because we have a diverse workforce who says that, see, you may be feeling this easy, but it is difficult for us, and we give solutions for that. So diversity has helped us in a lot of way in terms of market penetration across tier 2, tier 3 and beyond.
So my colleague Anoop has been repeatedly signaling me that we are out of time, and I think this discussion we can carry on offline maybe. So thank you so much for making it, and I really appreciate all of you. You've come all the way to Delhi for this to be part of this panel discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our esteemed panelists, requesting you to please stay on stage. May I invite Mr. Joyesh Sinha, Head Enterprise Lenovo India, to kindly felicitate our panelists. Mr. Sinha, if you may. That was a very interesting discussion on one of the most important challenges faced by emerging businesses, retaining talent. So thank you so much to our esteemed panelists for all the insights. We have amongst us our chief guest, Shri Sarbananda Sonowal, Honorable Union Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways and Union Minister for Ayush. Thank you for being here with us, sir. Bahut bahut dhanyavad. We also have the esteemed presence of our guest of honor, and I'm delighted to call upon stage, ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, let us welcome our esteemed guest of honor, Shri Amitabh Kant, CEO, Niti Aayog, for his address. Sir.
Honorable Minister, Mr. Sonowal, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm truly delighted to be here at this very important event relating to the next 500 people who will make a difference to India. Ladies and gentlemen, the key challenge for India is to really grow at rapid rates of 8 to 9% per annum, year after year, for 3 decades or more, to be able to lift a very, very young population above the poverty line. The answer to all these challenges is that we have to transform, as the Honorable Prime Minister said, this country in 1 generation. That is, by 2047, this will be the key area of transforming India in 1 generation. Now, if India is to transform itself in 1 generation, and let me tell you, other countries have done this. Korea did this, Taiwan did this, Singapore did this, in recent times China has done this, transformed themselves in 1 generation. Now, if India has to do this, then this growth is the answer. And for growth to happen, the key driver of growth, as the Prime Minister has repeatedly said, is the private sector. The government has to act. I also take this opportunity of welcoming the Honorable Minister, Mr. Meghwal, who's joined us right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, if India is to grow at those rapid rates of 9 to 10% per annum, year after year, the private sector has to be the key driver of growth, and the government has to act only as a facilitator and catalyst. And that's why this government has done several things. One of the key things that it focused on was ease of doing business, or scrapping rules, regulation, procedures, paperwork, acts. And we jumped up 79 positions in the World Bank ease of doing business. The other key area was to make the states compete with themselves, because India has 36 states and union territories. And therefore, the next wave of reforms has to come in from the states. And therefore, the states are competing. The first year we did this, Gujarat came number 1. The next year, Andhra Pradesh beat Gujarat. The third year, Telangana beat Gujarat. And ladies and gentlemen, the key challenge for us is that we have to make India easy and simple, and that is really the key area. One of the key things that we've seen in India in recent times is this big, huge movement of young startups. We have over 101 unicorns in this country. When we started the Startup India movement, there were just about 100 odd startups. In just about 4 years' time, we've seen 76,000 startups in India, 101 unicorns, and during the peak of the COVID, we had 44 unicorns. We are having 3 to 4 unicorns per month in India. And that really shows the energy, vibrancy, and dynamism of our startup movement. The important thing to understand is that it's the young Indians who are radically transforming India. I also wanted to bring out some key challenges which India is facing, and some of the key areas which have emerged. One is that there are today, we've rapidly expanded in digital technology. The rural part of India is actually growing much more rapidly on internet users. There are 20% more internet users in rural areas than in urban areas. And that is why the unified payment interface, that is the digital transaction today, we are ahead of China by 40%. We are ahead of China and USA by 27% in digital payments. And we are adding a new internet user every 3 seconds, So with about 800 million internet users, the pace of digital transformation is rapid. The UPI has in 4 years' time, does over $1 trillion worth of digital transaction, which is more than what MasterCard has done in 44 years. And therefore, one of the key things that will happen will be to use technology to leapfrog in a vast range of areas. While we've done this in digital payment, we've built up the JAM Trinity, the Jan Aadhaar mobile and the bank account Trinity. It's very important that we make a quantum jump forward in many other areas of growth. Electric mobility, green hydrogen, genomics, all these are emerging areas of growth. Battery storage. And many of these areas, the government has pushed through the production-linked incentive scheme across 14 areas. It's liberalized the geospatial mapping, it's liberalized the drone, so that India can become a center of manufacturing, a center of innovation in the years to come. And technology can be the big driver of growth. The only other point that I want to make which is very important, is that the point which was being made in the previous discussion, that women have to be a very key driver of growth. If today there are 1,020 women in India as compared to 1,000 men. There are more women in India. Many of us do not realize this, but the new NFHS survey says that there are more women than men in India, and therefore we have to empower the women, and women have to be the key driver of Indian economy. Because in India, the female labor participation ratio is still low. It's about 20%. The rest of the world, it's about 45% plus. And therefore, if we empower our women to become entrepreneurs, if we are able to create the right opportunity, then the Indian economy will grow at a much more rapid pace in the years to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are in the midst of huge disruption because of a vast range of massive reforms which the government has carried out, from GST to IBC to RERA to lower corporate tax to the a new definition of MSME, which was held up. Many of these reforms were held up for the last 3 to 4 decades, which the government has carried out. It's brought in the spirit of enterprise through ease of doing business. It's pushed the Startup India movement. It's brought in a huge amount of innovation. Imagine there are 10,000 tinkering labs in schools where children from class 6 onwards play around with drones, artificial intelligence, robots, etc. So what we are seeing is a completely new India, full of dynamism, full of new innovative spirit, and full of technology. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, the next 500 entrepreneurs will really shape the future of India. The next 500 gen will really be the ones who will drive the growth of India. And as I said, growth is critical. Young entrepreneurship is critical. It's not the top players, but India needs to create thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs. And that is what the spirit of the next 500 entrepreneurs is all about. If you are able to transform India, you will be the inspiration for the next 500, and they will be the inspiration for the next 500, and there'll be a huge multiplier impact on the Indian economy. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I really want to congratulate the 500 young entrepreneurs who've made it big to the Fortune list. And I want to take this opportunity of congratulating Fortune and its entire team for this unique initiative of really encouraging, inspiring, motivating the 500 entrepreneurs who will transform India. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Amitabh Kant. That was energetic, inspiring. Thank you for being here with us. And now may I take the opportunity to call upon our Editor-in-Chief, Mr. Rajiv Dubey, Editor-in-Chief, Fortune India, to please come forward and felicitate Shri Amitabh Kant, CEO, Niti Aayog, for being here with us. Zordar taaliyon ke saath, can we please give a big round of applause for our esteemed guest of honor for being here with us and gracing the evening with his presence. A small token of appreciation from all of us at Fortune India. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shri Amitabh Kant, for being here with us. At this juncture, may I now take the opportunity to call upon stage our guest of honor, very delighted to have his esteemed presence here with us at Fortune India's The Next 500, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Union Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs and Minister of State for Culture. And we will request you, sir, to please say a few words.
फ्यू वर्ड्स कितने बोलने हैं? फ्यू वर्ड्स बताइए सर। फ्यू वर्ड्स में 2 मिनट हैं, 4 मिनट हैं, 5 मिनट हैं, कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा ना। आराम से बोलें, आराम से तो बोलेंगे तो ये फिर भोजन इनका ड्यू हो जाएगा। देखिए, आज की इवनिंग है, बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट इवनिंग लग रही है मुझे, जो चेहरे में पढ़ पा रहा हूँ। भारत का भविष्य न केवल आर्थिक जगत में, न केवल बिजनेस जगत में, लेकिन भारत को लीड रोल में पहुंचाने वाले ऐसे हमारे फॉर्च्यून द नेक्स्ट 500 बैठे हैं, उसके लिए जोरदार ताली बजा के आप स्वागत कर सकते हो। हमारे चीफ गेस्ट आदरणीय हमारे सर्बानंद जी सोनवाल साहब, ये हमारे बड़े भाई भी हैं और हमें समय समय पर मार्गदर्शन देते रहते हैं। आसाम में इनकी सेवाएं बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रही है। अभी जो वाटरवेज का, पोर्ट्स का, आयुष का, अभी योगा का एक डे हुआ था 21 जून, तो 21 जून का योगा डे का जो फंक्शन हुआ था, शानदार हुआ कि नहीं हुआ देश में? तो सोनेवाल जी के लिए ताली जोरदार बजनी चाहिए ना। हमारे सीईओ नीति आयोग, जिन्होंने अभी अभी बहुत सुंदर भाषण दिया, अमिताभ कांत साहब ने, आपका स्वागत है सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। मैं पुरुषोत्तम जी को, राजीव जी को, यहाँ सब बैठे उनको धन्यवाद देता हुआ मेरी बात प्रारंभ करता हूँ। वैसे योजनाओं के बारे में तो बहुत बता दिया अमित कांत जी, अभी हम सुन रहे थे। इन्होंने जीएसटी बता दिया, आईबीसी बता दिया, रेरा बता दिया, स्टार्टअप बता दिया, बाकी कुछ बचा तो आप सर्बानंद सोनोवाल साहब बता देंगे। मैं थोड़ी आपसे बात कर लूं क्या? आप रेडी हो तो थोड़ी आपसे करूं बात? नहीं, आर यू रेडी कुछ बात करने के लिए? आजकल एक कंसेप्ट चल रहा है, अमिताभ कांत साहब भी मुझे थोड़ा करेक्ट करेंगे। एक बड़ा विषय चल रहा है, कई दिनों से, कई सालों से मैं सोच रहा हूं कि ये जो सदी है 21वीं, ये किसकी हो, ये विषय चल रहा है, डिबेटेबल है। और कई बार मैं बड़े विद्वान लोगों के बीच में जब ये विषय रखता हूं तो कुछ अपनी अपनी बात कहते हैं। ये बताइए, मैं बहुत पीछे नहीं जाऊंगा, 2 सदी की बात करूंगा। 19वीं सदी बहुत से लोग कहते हैं यूरोप की थी, आप लोग भी ऐसा मानते हैं? 19वीं आप चल रहे हैं सीओ साहब? ठीक ठीक ठीक। 19वीं सदी यूरोप की थी, आप ऐसा मानते हो? लीड रोल में कौन कंट्री था? कौन था? यूके। इसमें तो कोई डाउट नहीं है ना, या डाउट है? 20वीं सदी किसकी थी? सदी हमेशा कॉन्टिनेंट की होती है, उसमें एक कंट्री लीड रोल में रहता है। तो नॉर्थ अमेरिका, कोई डाउट? और लीड रोल में कौन कंट्री था? यूएसए। इससे तो सहमत है ना अपन सब, या कोई दिक्कत है इसमें? अब 21वीं सदी कौन से कॉन्टिनेंट की होगी? एशिया। और लीड रोल में कौन रहने वाला है? लीड रोल में कौन रहने वाला है? कौन रहने वाला है? कौन रहने वाला है? थोड़ा जोर से बोलना पड़ेगा जी, ऐसा कौन रहने वाला है? बोलिए भारत माता की। ये हम नहीं कह रहे हैं जी, ये 1 जनवरी 2000 को तो अटल जी ने कहा था कि ये सदी एशिया की होगी। लेकिन उसके बाद जब मनमोहन सिंह जी प्रधानमंत्री बने तो ये सदी तय करने वाले लोगों ने कहना शुरू करा कि ये सदी जॉइंटली होगी एशिया एंड अफ्रीका। जॉइंटली जॉइंटली कभी कोई सदी होती नहीं है, कभी कभी तय कर देते हैं। कहते हैं 14वीं 15वीं में किसी को जॉइंटली तय किया था। लेकिन जैसे ही प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी आए इस देश में और सुधार करना शुरू करा, जीएसटी लाए, आपकी कंप्लायंस बर्डन थी उसको कम किया, आपका फेसलेस असेसमेंट शुरू किया, आईबीसी लाए, तो आपका जो ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेसेस की रैंकिंग सुधरी, जो हमारा इंसॉल्वेंसी इंडेक्स जो भारत में 2017 में 136वें स्थान पर था, वो 2020 में 52वें स्थान पर आया। ये जब सिस्टम यूनिकॉर्न का, जिसका भी सीओ साहब बता रहे थे, इसमें बहुत तेजी आई। आत्मनिर्भर भारत अभियान आया, मेक इन इंडिया प्रोग्राम आया, पीएलआई प्रोडक्शन लिंक्ड इंसेंटिव आया, वो करीब करीब 14 सेक्टर में, जी छोटा नहीं है पीएलआई का विषय, उसमें मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से लेकर के इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स कंपोनेंट से लेकर के क्रिटिकल की स्टार्टिंग मटेरियल से लेकर के इंटरमीडिएट्स एंड एक्टिव फार्मास्यूटिकल इंग्रेडिएंट से लेकर के आप पढ़ेंगे तो लंबी लिस्ट है। ये विषय आया। पीएम गति शक्ति जैसी योजनाएं आई। तो ये कहने लगे कि नहीं, ये सदी तो जॉइंटली नहीं होगी, ये सदी एशिया की होगी। जब सदी एशिया की होगी तो कुछ लोगों ने पूछा कि इसमें कौन कौन कंपटीशन में होंगे कंट्री। मैं आपसे एक एक्सरसाइज कर रहा हूं, तो आपको क्या लगता है, ये जो प्लानर हैं या जो हिस्टोरियन कॉन्फ्रेंस वाले लोग हैं, राइटर क्लब्स वाले लोग हैं, इंटेलेक्चुअल क्लब वाले लोग हैं, ये हमें कहते हैं, हमें बताते हैं कि 4 देश एशिया के इस दौड़ में दौड़ रहे हैं। लीड रोल में कौन होगा वो बाद में पता चलेगा, क्योंकि उसमें एक पैरामीटर नहीं होता है। एक पैरामीटर नहीं होता सदी तय करने के लिए, एक पैरामीटर नहीं होता है। एक डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी उस देश में है या नहीं है, फैमिली यूनिट वहां कैसी है, परोपकार की भावना, फिलैंथ्रोपिक सोसाइटी वहां कैसी है, ये ऐसे कई, इकोनॉमी की साइज कैसी है, कहीं कोई संकट आ गया तो क्या वो देश जिसको हम लीड रोल देने वाले हैं वो दूसरे की मदद कर सकता है क्या, ऐसे कई पैरामीटर हैं। लेकिन ये कहते हैं 4 कंट्री इस दौड़ में है। तो 4 कौन कौन है साहब? एशिया के। ये हम नहीं कह रहे हैं, यूरोपियन कह रहे हैं, कंट्री के लोग, जो ये सदी तय करने वाले लोग कह रहे हैं कि ये सदी तो 21वीं एशिया की होगी। देश कौन कौन से हैं 4? थोड़ी एक्सरसाइज करें तो आप बताइए। इंडिया, चाइना, उसमें कोरिया को वो नहीं कहते हैं, जापान बिल्कुल ठीक कहते हैं, सिंगापुर को भी नहीं कह रहे हैं, जापान को कह रहे हैं, एक और कह रहे हैं, नहीं रशिया किसी ने कहा अभी। हाँ, क्या नाम है आपका भाई साहब? है अमन जी, जोरदार ताली तो बजाओ भाई इनके लिए। ये आपको कंफ्यूजन होता है, मेरे को भी कई बार हुआ भाई, क्या है रशिया को क्यों बोलते हैं? उसको ये हिस्टोरियन रशिया नहीं बोलते हैं, यूरेशिया बोलते हैं। यूरेशिया मीन्स ये सेंट्रल एशिया के देश हैं, ये भी यूरेशिया के पार्ट हैं। और उसके बाद ये रशिया का बहुत 80% 85% एशिया में है, बाकी यूरोप में है, इसको यूरोशिया बोलते हैं। तो यूरेशिया, चाइना, इंडिया और जापान, ये 4 देश कंपटीशन में। तो यूक्रेन के युद्ध के बाद क्या परिस्थितियां रशिया की रहेगी तो अपन सब जानते हैं। आगे क्या रहेगा अलग बात है, लेकिन सदी आप ये सोचते होंगे यार 2022 में हम चल रहे हैं, अभी क्या सदी तय ही नहीं करी क्या? ये सदी थोड़ी लेट तय होती है जी। आपको ध्यान में ला रहा हूं, 1945 तक इन संसार की सदी 20वीं किसकी होगी? यूरोप। लीड रोल में कौन रहेगा? इंग्लैंड। ये था। लेकिन जैसे ही सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर में जापान अपनी टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से आगे बढ़ रहा था, जर्मनी और जर्मनी की फौज, जापान की टेक्नोलॉजी से जैसे ही संसार में यह विषय आया कि ये तो जीत सकते हैं, तो यूरोप के देशों ने अमेरिका से जाकर के एक अनुरोध किया, रिक्वेस्ट, कि सर आपके यहां पे एटम बम आ गया, हमने सुना है। बोला है तो जापान पे छोड़िए, नहीं तो सदी एशिया में शिफ्ट हो सकती है। उस समय भी डर था। नागासाकी और हिरोशिमा में जैसे ही एटम बम छोड़ा, सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर में इंग्लैंड जीत गया या यूरोपियन कम्युनिटी या मित्र देश जीत गए, लेकिन सदी शिफ्ट हो गई। जब नेक्स्ट ईयर बैठे, बोला सदी यूरोप की घोषित करो। बोला नो, यू हैव रिक्वेस्टेड नॉर्थ अमेरिका, इसलिए अब नॉर्थ अमेरिका की सदी होगी। 1945, अभी तो अपन 2022 में ही है, अभी तो टाइम है अपने पास, अभी क्यों परेशान हो रहे हो? इकोनॉमी की साइज में आपको परेशानी होती है, आप इकोनॉमी के लोग बैठे हो, आप कहते हो भी चाइना की तो बहुत बड़ी साइज है इकोनॉमी की, मानते हैं, लेकिन डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप ऑफ द सोसाइटी में 100 में से नंबर दिए जाएंगे तो इंडिया को कितने मिलेंगे और चाइना को कितने मिलेंगे, जरा बताइए। चाइना 0। आप तो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट हो क्या इस मामले में, है? हाँ, चाइना 0 ही मिलेगा जी। इसलिए आजकल चाइना कहने लग गया हम भी डेमोक्रेटिक हैं। हमारे यहां भी चुनाव होता है, आपने देखा होगा, मैगजीन में बड़े बड़े आर्टिकल आते हैं, वो कैसे डेमोक्रेटिक, एक ही तो आपका दल है भाई। डेमोक्रेटिक सोसाइटी जिसमें सोचने का तरीका, बात करने का तरीका, संवाद करने का तरीका, सरकार से बात करने का तरीका, सिस्टम ही नहीं, कोई प्लेटफॉर्म ही नहीं है भाई। सरकार ने तय किया, आपको मानना है। डेमोक्रेटिक सेटअप ऑफ सोसाइटी में बहुत आगे हैं। फैमिली, आप ध्यान रखना जी, ये भी एक पैरामीटर है। चाइना तो इसी परेशानी में गुजर रहा है कि बच्चा 1 रखें 2 रखें, ये बड़ी समस्या होगी। पहले पॉलिसी लाए 1 बच्चे की, लाए ना, और बच्चा घूमने चला गया, मां बाप ने फोन किया कहां हो तुम, कमल शंघाई की तरफ हूं। बोला आराम से चलाना गाड़ी, एक्सीडेंट हो गया तो तुम एक ही हो परिवार में। वो डरपोक हो गए सब। तो चाइना ने स्टडी की कि एक बच्चा तो डरपोक है, ये इंडिया के बच्चे क्यों इंटेलिजेंट है, ये स्टडी हुई चाइना में। तो चाइना चला है, आप सब जानते हो कि 2 बच्चे करे हैं या 3, इसी में घूम रहा है अभी चाइना। हमारी फैमिली यूनिट बहुत मजबूत है जी, बहुत मजबूत है, मैं कह रहा हूं। फिलैंथ्रोपिक सोसाइटी, कोविड में देखा हमने जी, कोविड ने प्रूव किया फैमिली यूनिट हमारी बहुत मजबूत है। फिलैंथ्रोपिक सोसाइटी, सर मैं आपको रिक्वेस्ट कर रहा हूं, कोविड में इन लोगों के पास कोई काम धंधे नहीं थे, बिजनेस ठप था, लेकिन लोगों की सेवा करने में इनके हाथ बहुत आगे थे भाई साहब, बहुत आगे थे। ये हमारी फिलैंथ्रोपिक सोसाइटी है, इसमें हम बहुत आगे हैं। तो हम कई पैरामीटर में आगे रहेंगे जी, आप चिंता मत करो। एक पैरामीटर में जिसमें लीड रोल में हम पहुंच गए, वो है योगा। जब अमेरिका का आदमी योगा कर रहा है 21 जून को, ऑस्ट्रेलिया का योगा कर रहा है, सिंगापुर का योगा कर रहा है, स्पेन का योगा कर रहा है, साउथ अफ्रीका का आदमी भी योगा कर रहा है, तो मेरा तो भाई साहब खून बढ़ता, आपका भी बढ़ता ही होगा ना, नहीं बढ़ता क्या? तो हम जैसे योगा में लीड रोल में आए हैं, ऐसे और सेक्टर में भी हम लीड रोल में पहुंचने वाले हैं बहुत जल्दी। सेक्टर कोई भी हो सकता है, सेक्टर कोई भी हो सकता है, क्योंकि मोदी जी के जमाने में तेजी से काम, सेक्टर कोई भी हो जिसमें तेजी से काम, डिसीजन लेने की क्षमता, ये बहुत सी योजनाएं बता के गए हैं। अब आप इंडस्ट्री के लोग बैठे हैं, हम इंडस्ट्री 4.0 में चल रहे हैं, एम आई राइट? इंडस्ट्री 4.0, इंडस्ट्री 1.0 कब आया था सर? आपसे मैं पूछूं तो कब आया था? 1784, जब इस संसार में स्टीम का आविष्कार हुआ। पहले समुद्री मार्ग से, जिस मार्ग को आप देखते हैं उस मार्ग से व्यापार होता था, लेकिन स्टीम नहीं था। खाली स्टीम का आविष्कार होने से नहीं हुआ, लेकिन तेजी से स्टीम आए, तो ये जो 1780, 84, 90 ये जो कालखंड है, इसको हमारे लोगों ने कहा, नीति निर्धारक करने वाले लोगों ने कहा इंडस्ट्री 1.0। बिजनेस बढ़ा, इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन बढ़ा। फिर इंडस्ट्री 2.0 कब आया सर? थोड़ी एक्सरसाइज करें तो 2.0 कब आया? जब इलेक्ट्रिसिटी आई। सरदार जी के लिए ताली बजाओ साहब, बहुत जोरदार बता रहे। जब बिजली आई, और ये ठीक 100 साल के आसपास आती है। क्या नाम है सरदार जी आपका? आप बता रहे हो क्या? मैंने देखा ये भी बता रहे हैं सरदार जी भी। आपका क्या नाम है? राजीव जी हैं? राजीव जी के लिए जोरदार ताली बजाओ भाई। बिजली आई तो नीति निर्धारण करने वालों ने कहा इंडस्ट्री 2.0, और बिजली से तेजी से इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन बढ़ा, तेजी से। और ये ठीक 100 साल बाद है, ठीक 100 साल बाद। फिर इंडस्ट्री 3.0 कब आया सर? कब आया सर? 70 के आसपास, 60s के आसपास। जब कब आया, क्यों हुआ? इंफॉर्मेशन टेक। राजीव तो बहुत ज्ञानी आदमी जी, राजीव जी तो। तुम राजीव नहीं तो एक राजीव हमारे पास एपीएस है, ये भी ज्ञानी है। वैसे राजीव नाम ज्ञानी होता है। यहाँ राजीव फॉर्च्यून में भी है ना राजीव जी, कहां बैठे हैं? हाँ, ये भी ज्ञानी है। राजीव दुबे जी भी ज्ञानी है। राजीव के लिए ताली बजा सकते हो जोर से आप। जब इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी आई और बहुत से लोगों ने कहा बेरोजगारी आ जाएगी, ये आ जाएगा, आया क्या? आप रेलवे रिजर्वेशन कोच नंबर क्या है वही पूछ लेते हो आजकल। पूछते हो नहीं पूछते हो? आज से 20 साल पहले पूछते थे क्या? मोबाइल की टेक्नोलॉजी कितना चेंज है जी, क्या बताएं आपको? कौन सा कोच कहां आएगा? इंडेक्स रेलवे स्टेशन पे, एयरपोर्ट पे। कितना एयरपोर्ट पे आरसीएस स्कीम, अगेन रीजनल कनेक्टिविटी स्कीम ने इस देश में आपके एविएशन सेक्टर की दशाई और दिशाई बदल दी। ये इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी। और आजकल इंडस्ट्री 4.0 की बात कर रहे हैं। इसके क्या पिलर हैं जी? इंडस्ट्री 4.0 के क्या पिलर हैं? आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस एक पिलर तो ये है। वैसे बहुत सी चीजें आप जानते हो। दूसरा पिलर है रोबोटिक्स। तीसरा पिलर है 3D प्रिंटिंग। ये तो मोटे मोटे हैं, बाकी आप ब्लॉकचेन और क्या क्या शब्द है भाई, क्या क्या शब्द है भाई, बहुत है, क्यों बोलो भाई। मशीन लर्निंग है, NFT, IoT, ये सब इंडस्ट्री 4.0 है भाई साहब। आज हम पार्लियामेंट बना रहे हैं बहुत जल्दी, उसमें 3D प्रिंटिंग है भाई साहब, ध्यान रखना। जो सेंट्रल विस्टा बन रहा है वो तेजी से काम हो रहा है, पता ही नहीं चलेगा एकदम ये क्या हुआ, ये बन गया सब। ये 3D प्रिंटिंग है। रोबोटिक्स टेक्निक, ब्लॉकचेन, मशीन लर्निंग, ये सारा मिला करके, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, सारा मिला करके इंडस्ट्री 4.0 कहलाता है। तो वी हैव एंटर्ड इनटू ए एरा ऑफ इंडस्ट्री 4.0। जैसे हम 4.0 में आ गए हैं, कुछ लोग कहते हैं कि इंडिया के अनुसार नहीं चला तो बेरोजगारी आ जाएगी। आईटी के समय भी चला था, आई क्या बेरोजगारी? नहीं आई। हम अलूफ नहीं रह सकते। अगर संसार इंडस्ट्री 4.0 में एंटर कर गया है तो हमें भी करना पड़ेगा। और ये फॉर्च्यून द नेक्स्ट 500, ये मुझे लगता है कि आज जो बैठे हो सबने कहीं ना कहीं इंडस्ट्री 4.0 को अनुभव किया है, ऑफिस में या घर में देखा है, जाना है, माना है। तो इस एज में आपने जो ये कार्यक्रम हाथ में लिया है, उसके लिए मैं राजीव जी, आशुतोष जी, आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। और मैं पुनः कह रहा हूं कि जैसे 21 जून को लग रहा है, संसार को लगा कि इंडिया ये योगा इंडिया का है, ऐसा एक सेक्टर स्पिरिचुअल सेक्टर भी है, ये योगा इंडिया का है, मेंटल हेल्थ को ठीक रखता है, प्राणायाम के माध्यम से हमारा टेंशन कम होता है। तो जैसे 21 जून को संसार ये कहता है कि इंडिया का है, इंडिया ये लीड रोल में है ऐसे ही और सेक्टरों में जैसे जैसे तेजी से आपके सहयोग से इंडिया लीड रोल में चलता जाएगा, सदी एशिया की है भाई साहब, इसका नेतृत्व भारत करेगा आपके सहयोग से, ऐसा मैं मानता हूं। और आप भी मानते हो ना भारत करे? आप भी मानते हो ना भारत करे? बोलिए भारत माता की, भारत माता की। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद श्री मेघवाल, बहुत ही खूबसूरती से आपने हम सबको एनर्जाइज कर दिया है, थैंक यू। And moving on, ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to call upon stage now our chief guest today for Fortune India's The Next 500. So delighted to invite upon stage, let me take the opportunity to invite our esteemed chief guest, Shri Sarbanand Sonowal, Honorable Union Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways, and Union Minister of Ayush, to kindly come on stage and address us. आइए जोरदार तालियों के साथ मंच पर स्वागत करेंगे श्री सोनोवाल, हमारे मुख्य अतिथि, हमारे चीफ गेस्ट। सर
नमस्कार। आज हमारे बीच उपस्थित हमारे परम आदरणीय श्रद्धेय देश के वरिष्ठ नेता, मोदी सरकार की मंत्रिपरिषद की परम आदरणीय मंत्री अर्जुन मेघवाल जी, जिन्होंने आप लोगों को अपनी उद्बोधन से सबका दिल बहलाया और सबको मुझे लगता है कि आनंदित किया। आनंदित किया है ना? वो तो बोलिए ना कब से। मुझे तो बहुत मजा लगा क्योंकि मैं भी सुन रहे थे और मेघवाल जी हमारे मार्गदर्शक है। तो आज जो द नेक्स्ट 500 आप लोगों ने जो इवेंट आयोजन की है, इसके लिए निश्चित रूप से धन्यवाद के पात्र है हमारे राजीव दुबे जी और उनके साथी, सबको मैं विशेष रूप से धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं। मेरा एक लिखित भाषण है, आपको शायद 20 मिनट थकान भी आ सकता है। मेहरबानी करके मुझे लगता है कि आप मुझे जरूर साथ दीजिएगा, सहयोग कीजिएगा। मैंने अपनी उद्बोधनी ये इंग्लिश में प्रस्तुत किया है। मेघवाल जी आगे बढ़ो। As we all know, this is an opportunity for Indian business houses. That means लक्ष्य हमें तय करना होगा। Next 500 में हमें जगह बनानी होंगे। We'll have to create space in that, elite 500 number of seats. इनके अंदर अगर हमें जगह बनानी है, तो इनके लिए हमारी बीच जो तैयारी चाहिए इसके बारे में मुझे लगता है आप लोग भी अनुभवी है, और इस तैयारी के लिए भी देश के अंदर पिछले 8 साल में हमारे देश के आदर्शवादी नेता, दुनिया के सबसे लोकप्रिय नेता प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने जो कदम उठाए हैं, इसकी वजह से सब लोगों ने ये महसूस किया है और परिवर्तन दिखाई दी है करीब से। जो ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन उन्होंने लाया है, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन लाने के लिए एक नेता की व्यक्तित्व में जो गुण चाहिए, एक गुण मोदी जी की नेतृत्व में भरा हुआ है। उन्होंने नीति रणनीति जिस हिसाब से हमारी देश के लिए जरूरत थी, उसी हिसाब से उन्होंने प्रस्तुत की, और सारी नीति को जमीनी हकीकत से जोड़ने के लिए, साकार करने के लिए नेता की व्यक्तित्व में जो नियत चाहिए, वो नियत मोदी जी के व्यक्तित्व में होने के वजह से आज देशवासियों को देश का परिवर्तन का सेहरा दिखाई दी है। तो इसलिए हम सब सौभाग्यशाली है, क्योंकि मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में हमें देश सेवा करने के लिए मौका मिला है। टुडे वी विल हैव टू रियलाइज द पोटेंशियलिटीज, possibilities and prosperities of India. Whatever God has gifted to us, this is to be understood and discovered. Modi ji has rightly discovered the nation, its available resources. Resources in the human society, resources in nature, resources in water, resources in our environment, ecology, diversity. So that's the power of India. And that is why he started the right way of proceeding with a lot of innovative initiative, and have considered the most key factors to be the driving force of the Indian economy. Infrastructure sector is a key driver for the Indian economy. The sector plays a crucial role to propel New India's growth trajectory. Our government, under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, is implementing policies that would enable time-bound creation of world-class infrastructure in the country. To power the vision of India becoming a US $5 trillion economy by 2025, infrastructure development and upgrade will play a major role. The National Infrastructure Pipeline program was launched by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji during his Independence Day speech in 2019. The objective of this policy is to act as an enabler towards infusion of funds for infrastructure development by 2030. To this effect, an outlay of rupees 111 lakhs crore has been announced for the period between 2019 and 2025. The NIP will enable more infrastructure projects, power business and job creation, improve ease of living and provide access of infrastructure for all, thereby making growth more inclusive. The Union budget for the current fiscal aims to strengthen the infrastructure with its focus on 4 priorities. The first and foremost being the Prime Minister's Gati Shakti. For this, the budget has allocated a total of rupees 7.5 lakhs crore towards capital expenditure. As you know, without capital expenditure, we cannot develop the infrastructure. There is a 35% increase in the allocation of fund with an aim to propel infrastructure in the country. The government's intent towards creating world-class infrastructure emanates from the fact that about 4.1% of GDP, that is rupees 10.68 lakhs crore under effective capital expenditure. The idea is to put the economy on a high growth trajectory with the multiplier effect of infra investment push in the economy. Various ministries are ensuring fast-track implementation of the infra project under them. This rejuvenated infrastructure through this program will provide a platform for the Fortune next 500 companies to secure opportunities for mutual progress with the New India growth story. The spend on infrastructure is a huge business opportunity for the companies to become partners with the government through contract, subcontract, and begging of orders within next 3 to 4 years. This will result in steady cash flow, revenue generation, production asset creation, further investment, facilitating job creation in the country. The trickle-down effect will also empower ancillary sector and the service sector. Ultimately, this will also boost the consumption economy. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji launched PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan for multimodal connectivity as a platform to bring 16 ministries including railways, ports and roadways together for integrated planning and coordinated implementation of infrastructure connectivity project. The multi-modal connectivity will provide integrated and seamless connectivity for movement of people, goods and services. Efficient transport infrastructure hold the key towards promoting sustainable development. Logistic cost is considered to be 13 to 14% of India's gross domestic product, which is higher than countries such as USA, China, and many others. Under PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, infrastructure planning, implementation, and monitoring is an attempt to reduce India's logistic cost and improve trade competitiveness. The vision of Honorable Prime Minister is to transform through transportation. This has helped the economy and reap immense social and economic dividend for the country. The Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways has been actively working towards attainment of this transformation through fast-paced targeted infrastructure development and modernization of all ports, shipping and inland waterways sector. These are shipbuilding, ship repair, development of national waterways, inland waterways, transport and coastal economic and industrial development through the Honorable Prime Minister flagship initiative Sagarmala. Under this program, there are 802 projects worth of rupees 5.5 lakhs crore scheduled to be completed by 2035. While Sagarmala is port-led and focuses on the logistic cost reduction and extreme competitiveness, the Sagartak Samriddhi Yojana aims to bridge the gap in infrastructure at the coastal areas and create economic opportunities. Inland waterways serve as an all-weather, reliable, economic and environment-friendly mode of transport. Its role to improve regional connectivity was recognized. The Jal Marg Vikas project was devised from National Waterways 1 Ganga, Bhagirathi, Hooghly River System and Jal Marg Vikas 2 Art Ganga on National Waterways 1 with an investment of rupees 4,634 crores for capacity augmentation. The development of these waterways will go a long way in building capacity for better regional connectivity and strengthen our attempt to create business opportunities for India and her neighboring countries. A consignment of 1,800 metric tons of steel rods from Tata Steel in Jamshedpur was transported from Haldia Port in Calcutta to Pandu Port in Guwahati via Indo-Bangladesh Protocol Road. In another milestone pilot movement, 200-ton shipment of food grains belonging to Food Corporation of India was transported from Patna, Bihar on National Waterways 1 to Pandu, Guwahati, Assam on National Waterways 2 via Indo-Bangladesh Protocol Road, covering a waterways distance of 2,350 kilometers. Over last few years, government has taken a number of modernization, mechanization, digital transportation measures at ports to reduce cost and time in international trade. As a result, the cargo handle in major ports increased from 1,065.83 million ton per annum in 2017 to 1,587.59 million ton per annum at the end of last fiscal. The modernization and mechanization effort has also improved the turnaround time of container at our ports to 26.58 hours from 44.70 hours in 2013-14. Our efforts towards bringing efficiency has also resulted in a rise of 6.94% traffic movement in major ports in 2021-22. We have put forth our target for port and inland waterways to be achieved as per our vision by 2030. Some of these are improving percentage of Indian cargo transshipment handled by Indian ports from 20% at present to more than 75%. Secondly, improving average ship daily output gross tonnage from 16,500 metric ton at present to more than 30,000 metric ton. Increasing percentage of cargo handled at major ports by PPP other operators from 51% presently to more than 75%. Increasing the percentage of Indian seafarer from 12% to 20%. Increasing the cruise passengers from the present figure of 4.68 lakhs to more than 15 lakhs by 2030. The ministry is also developing a blue economy vision 2047. It is a long-term vision to align our economic and global objective and make India maritime leaders in various domains of ports, shipping and waterways. Under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, India will forge ahead with strength. It is working at breaking old barriers and building new frontiers by strengthening infrastructure and devising policies instrumental in attaining our goal of making Indian economy a $5 trillion by 2025. In this endeavor, all of you, that is the Indian companies, have crucial role to play. The vision economic transformation through transportation is immense but possible with our exceptional talent, pool, dedication and commitment towards nation building. The objective of building a new India with an Atmanirbhar essence in the spirit of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas can come through with Sabka Prayas and Sabka Vishwas. I am sure this initiative will go a long way to achieve our target. And मैं आज विशेष रूप से राजीव दुबे जी और उनके साथी सबको मैं धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूं, क्योंकि देश के अंदर अब जो माननीय मोदी जी ने जो शक्ति, जो प्रेरणा हमारी नई पीढ़ियों के लिए दी है, हमारी अलग अलग सेक्टर के लिए दी है, इसके वजह से आज हिंदुस्तान जाग उठा है और दुनिया देखने लगा है। हिंदुस्तान को दुनिया ने करीब से देखने लगा है। शक्ति, संभावना, संपदा, इन चीजों को अब सब लोगों ने महसूस करने लग गए हैं और मोदी जी उनके उदाहरण है। खुद मोदी जी हमेशा कहा करते हैं, कठोर परिश्रम का बिना परिवर्तन संभव नहीं है। इसलिए आज हर दिन 26 घंटा के अंदर 20 घंटा तक मेहनत अगर कोई नेता करते हैं, वो नरेंद्र मोदी जी है। किसी ने कहा था, मेहनत के बिना मंजिल दिखाई नहीं देती। ये सही बात है, हमें मेहनत करनी होंगी। इसलिए मोदी जी ने आखिरी शब्द सबका प्रयास, we'll have to work hard। भीषण सही है, लेकिन भीषण को साकार कैसे करें? हकीकत में हम कैसे उसको साकार करिए? नई पीढ़ी देखे हमारी सफलता की सभी रोशनी, उनको दिखाई दे, उनको महसूस हो जाए। इसलिए मैं चाहता हूं कि जैसे हमारे परम आदरणीय अर्जुन मेघवाल जी ने जैसे आप लोगों को आज इतना हौसला दिया, हिम्मत दिया, बहुत आंकड़ा आप लोगों को आज दिया, जिसके वजह से आपको भी इतिहास संज्ञान में आ गया। 17th सेंचुरी में हम क्या थे, किस हालत में थे, 18 में क्या हुआ, 19 में क्या हुआ, 20 में क्या हुआ और 21 शब्द में हम लोग किस हालत में है। तो इसलिए आज सही बताया आपने अर्जुन जी कि आयुष को WHO ने, आपको मालूम है ये जो परंपरागत चिकित्सा पद्धति है, हजारों साल से हमारी समाज सभ्यता में उस शक्ति के रूप में है, लेकिन हम लोगों ने इन चीजों को ध्यान से कभी भी देखा नहीं था। आप योग को ले लीजिए, योग कहीं स्पिरिचुअल केंद्र में, कहीं व्यक्तिगत जीवन में वो सीमित रहे, लेकिन माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने जब से दायित्वभार संभाला प्रधानमंत्री का, 2014 से एक नई यात्रा शुरू हुआ और 2014 तक आयुष एक विभाग हुआ करते थे। समाज इस पर देखते नहीं थे। शक्ति के बारे में जानकारी लेना तो दूर की बात है, देखता ही नहीं था। लेकिन आज कोविड-19 पेंडेमिक की कालखंड में, ये संकट भरी परिस्थिति में आयुष की जो भी उत्पादित औषध, इसके द्वारा मानव समाज को इस संक्रमण से अपने आप को बचाने का जो शक्ति मिला, जो राहत मिला, इसके वजह से आज आयुष का प्रोडक्ट को क्रेडिबिलिटी का साथ साथ उनकी एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी भी बढ़ चुका है और दुनिया में आज आयुष इंडस्ट्री ने $18.2 बिलियन का बाजार क्रिएट करने में सफलता प्राप्त की है। इसके वजह से आज हमारी जो क्रेडिबिलिटी, उसको देखते हुए WHO ने, ऐसे तो दुनिया में मोर देन 170 कंट्रीज के बीच में ये ट्रेडिशनल प्रैक्टिसेस है, उनके पास भी है परंपरागत, लेकिन बहुत सा कंट्री ने भी आवेदन किया था कि उनकी देश में WHO को केंद्र बनाया जाए। लेकिन हमारी देश के परम आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के निरंतर कोशिश की वजह से और उनकी ये एक तपस्या थी, क्योंकि हमारी हिंदुस्तानियों का सभ्यता संस्कृति में जो शक्ति सदैव से बसा हुआ है। इस शक्ति को दुनिया देखे, दुनिया जाने, दुनिया समझे। पिछले 8 साल में आप लोगों ने खुद देखा है, मोदी जी ने स्वयं यूएनओ में जब प्रस्ताव रखा, दुनिया की मानव समाज को युग के बारे में, युग की शक्ति के बारे में जब उन्होंने व्याख्या किया, तब जाके मानव समाज ने उसको स्वीकार किया। उसके बाद निरंतर हर साल 21 जून को जब भी इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ योगा उत्सव आयोजन होते हैं, तो हर साल दिनों दिन लोकप्रियता बढ़ने लगे। और इस बार तो आप लोगों ने खुद देखा है, more than 193 countries took part in the IDY 2022, और भारत सरकार ने भी मोदी जी के मार्गदर्शन से आयुष मंत्रालय ने एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री का साथ मिलकर गार्जियन रिंग योगा का हमने रचना की। फिजी से विद द राइजिंग ऑफ द सन, जहां जहां सूर्योदय हुए वहीं से शुरू करके आखिरी तक सैन फ्रांसिस्को और टोरंटो कनाडा तक हमारी इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ योगा को सफल रूप दिया गया है। ये सब मोदी जी का ही निरंतर प्रयास है, उन्हीं की दिया हुआ प्रेरणा है। तो इसलिए आज आप लोगों को गर्व महसूस करना चाहिए, WHO ने दुनिया का पहला WHO का अगर केंद्र कहीं स्थापना की, और हिंदुस्तान की धरती पे गुजरात के जामनगर में की। इसका मतलब साफ है, ट्रेडिशनल सिस्टम ऑफ मेडिसिन में हिंदुस्तान को ही नेतृत्व देना होगा। ये हमारी कांधों पर ये जिम्मेदारी दिया गया है, सौंपा गया है बाय WHO ने। इतना बड़ा सफलता आजादी के अमृत कालखंड में। तो इसलिए मुझे लगता है कि हिंदुस्तानी होने के नाते मैं तो अंदर से बहुत गर्व महसूस करता हूं। आपको लगता है कि नहीं? ये कोई मामूली सफलता नहीं है। आप गंभीर रूप से अध्ययन कीजिए। ये विज्ञान, पहले लोग विज्ञान मानते नहीं थे, अब जब स्टडी होने लगा, कोलैबोरेटिव रिसर्च होने लगा, साइंटिफिक स्टडी और रिसर्च होने लगा, जर्नल में इसका पब्लिकेशन हुई, दुनिया ने पढ़ने लग गए, कौन से पत्ते में, कौन से पौधा में, कौन से रूट में, कौन से प्लांट में क्या शक्ति है, औषधि गुण है, इन सारी चीजों को जब उन्होंने जानने लगे, तब जाके आज विज्ञान के एविडेंस के जरिए हमारी आयुष इंडस्ट्री से जो भी मैन्युफैक्चर किया जाता है, उसी को आज कंज्यूम करके मानव समाज को अलग अलग बीमारों से राहत मिलने लगा है। तो इसलिए ये मानवता के लिए सारे आयुष को आगे बढ़ाया गया है। मोदी जी ने इस बार इंटरनेशनल डे ऑफ योगा को का जो थीम है वो योगा फॉर ह्यूमैनिटी, मानवता के लिए, यानी कि योगा हैज दैट पावर टू इंटीग्रेट द ग्लोबल सोसाइटी। ये सिर्फ बॉडी, माइंड और सोल का इंटीग्रेशन नहीं है, ये इंटीग्रेशन है मानवता का। यानी कि योग में इतना बड़ा शक्ति है, इसलिए आप फॉर्च्यून 500 निश्चित रूप से वो जगह आप ले सकते हैं, है ना? ले सकते हैं कि नहीं? मैंने आप लोगों का बीच से आना सही आवाज। मैं ये इतना चिल्ला के इसलिए बोल रहा हूं क्योंकि आप हिंदुस्तानी होने के नाते आपका पास वो शक्ति है, लेकिन शक्ति का सही महसूस होना चाहिए, है कि नहीं? मेरा पास शक्ति है, अगर मेरा पास जानकारी नहीं होगा तो दिक्कत हो जाएगा। जानकारी होना बहुत जरूरी है। पहले तो देखिए 8 साल के अंदर हम लोग को बहुत जानकारी मिले, उसका पहले जानकारी थी नहीं। अपने देश को हमने डिस्कवर नहीं कर पाए। इफ यू फेल टू डिस्कवर योर मदरलैंड, योर नेशन, अबाउट इट्स पोटेंशियलिटीज, पॉसिबिलिटीज, देन यू आर इग्नोरेंट. You are not committed soldier of your nation. You will have to understand the available potentialities and resources that is gifted by God, and it is to be tapped by applying our wisdom, innovation, technology, so that this can be utilized for the betterment of human being. Anyway, आप लोगों ने मुझे, मैं तो चीफ गेस्ट बनने का मेरा इतना क्वालिफिकेशन नहीं है लेकिन आप लोगों ने बना दिया आज। जहां अर्जुन जी है तो मैं सिर्फ वहां ऐसे उपस्थित रहने से भी मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, क्योंकि ही इज ए वेरी नाइस पर्सन, ग्रेट ह्यूमन बीइंग। आई सैल्यूट। एंड अमित कांत जी को मैं धन्यवाद देता हूं। सीईओ होने के नाते नीति आयोग की बहुत काम किया है देश के लिए, और देश की जनता को भी मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में जैसे उन्होंने उत्साह दी है, उन्होंने प्रेरणा दी है, तो इसके लिए वो भी धन्यवाद के पात्र है। और आप सब देश की रखवाला, देश की इज्जत बढ़ाने वाला, स्वाभिमान को आगे ले जाने वाला आप लोग भी बहुत बहुत नमस्कार, धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you so much, Shri Sarbananda Sonowal ji. Thank you so much for your kind words, sir. I will also request our guest of honor, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal ji, to please join us on stage. I would also request Mr. Rajiv Dubey, Editor-in-Chief, Fortune India, to kindly join us on stage. And the moment, ladies and gentlemen, our presenters are here with us. I am so excited to announce that we are now going to begin with the much-awaited Fortune India's the next 500 awards ceremony. There are going to be two sets of awards, the Sectoral Awards and the Rising Star Awards. These are companies that achieved the most growth in their respective sectors through financial year 21, which was, as we all know, a challenging year for business. So we shall start with alphabetical order. So everybody, time to celebrate, recognize your hard work. The next 500 sitting in this room here with us at Fortune India. The first sector of awards is auto ancillaries, and the nominees are, the nominees on screen. The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is Sharda Motor Industries. To accept the award, we have Mr. Ajay Rellan, Managing Director, and Mr. Ashim Rellan, CEO. Sharda Motor Industries with us today. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next category, which is cement. And the award nominees in the cement category are, here are the nominees. The winner, ladies and gentlemen, is NCL Industries. Can we give a big round of applause? We have Mr. U. Harish Rao, Senior Vice President, and Mr. Kamlesh Thakur, Vice President Marketing, to receive the award. Congratulations, NCL Industries. Our next category this evening is engineering. And the nominees in the engineering category are ladies and gentlemen, the winner in the engineering category is Praj Industries. To receive the award, we have Mr. Shishir Joshipuria, CEO and Managing Director, Praj Industries, here with us today. Congratulations. Please put your hands together. Sector, FMCG. The nominees in the FMCG category are on screen. The winner, ladies and gentlemen, in FMCG is Hindustan Foods. We have Mr. Vimal Solanki, Head Emerging Business, to accept the award. Congratulations, Hindustan Foods. Put your hands together for Hindustan Foods, Mr. Vimal Solanki. Congratulations. Moving over to our next category, IT services. The nominees in IT services on screen. The winner in this category is Mastech. Please put your hands together for Ms. Prajakta Talvekar, Global Head Marketing, Mastech, to please join us on stage. Congratulations. The next category, ladies and gentlemen, is metals. The nominees in metals category on the screen. The winner here in this category, ladies and gentlemen, is the only state-owned company to win an award today. Congratulations, Hindustan Copper. Big round of applause as we welcome Mr. C.S. Singhi, Executive Director and Company Secretary, and Ms. Sampath Chakrabarti Lahiri, Head Corporate Communications, Hindustan Copper. Congratulations. The only state-owned company that is winning an award. Congratulations, team Hindustan Copper. Moving on to our next category, NBFCs, and the nominees in NBFCs on screen. The winner in NBFCs category is Nippon Life Asset Management. To receive the award, we have Mr. Abhishek Nalvaya, Head Investor Relations, Nippon Life Asset Management. Mr. Abhishek Nalvaya. Many, many congratulations, Nippon Life Asset Management, on winning this award. Congratulations. And the final sectoral award of the day, ladies and gentlemen, is textiles. Can we have the nominees, please? Here are the nominees, ladies and gentlemen, and the winner in the textiles category is Lux Industries. We have Mr. Udit Todi, Executive Director, Lux Industries, to receive the award. Please put your hands together for Mr. Todi. Congratulations, Mr. Udit Todi, Lux Industries, and congratulations to all the winners, the Sectoral Star Award winners. Congratulations. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move over to the Rising Star Awards at Fortune India's The Next 500. These 5 awards that we are going to give out now are being given to companies that have risen the most in ranks in the Next 500 listing this year. I'm going to repeat that. Our rising stars who've risen the most in ranks in the Next 500 listing this year. We would like to let our rising stars know that there's a beautiful token of appreciation that's waiting for them from our time partner, Frederick Constant. These timepieces, which are exquisite, are just being launched in India now. All right, so moving to our rising stars, the first award goes to a company that recorded the 5th highest jump in the Next 500 rankings of 2022. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for GMM Pfaudler for rising 189 ranks. Please welcome Mr. Sachin Verma, Manager Sales, Mixion at GMM Pfaudler, who's here to receive the award. Congratulations, our rising star. Can we put our hands together, everybody? Congratulations. Our next Rising Star Award winner has already won a sectoral award. Very excited to invite upon stage our next Rising Star, Hindustan Foods. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Vimal Solanki, Head Emerging Business, Hindustan Foods, back on stage for this award. Congratulations. A great performance with a jump of 209 ranks in the Next 500 list. Congratulations, team Hindustan Foods. Can we give it up for Mr. Solanki, everybody? Like I mentioned, Hindustan Food has jumped 209 ranks in the Next 500 listing this year. So ladies and gentlemen, we have one more rising star. The company has also jumped, shot through 209 ranks. Very excited to call upon stage the joint second Rising Star Award winner. Angel Broking, which is now known as Angel One. Please put your hands together for Mr. Dinesh Thakkar, CMD Angel One. Congratulations. Congratulations, Angel One. Our next Rising Star Award goes to Sharda Motor Industries, which went up 274 ranks in the ranking this year. Please welcome Mr. Ajay Rellan, Managing Director, and Mr. Ashim Rellan, CEO, Sharda Motor Industries, back on stage. That's been a wonderful, wonderful performance. Congratulations. You know, they say all good things come to an end, and we've reached the end of our awards here at Fortune India's Next 500, but we have one more rising star over here to award, ladies and gentlemen. Very excited and delighted to announce a company which rose 283 ranks in the 2022 The Next 500 listings. Please put your hands together for RHI Magnesita India. To accept the award, we have Ms. Vijaya Gupta, CFO RHI Magnesita here. Congratulations. Congratulations to our sectoral award winners, Rising Star winners. Congratulations to everybody here at Fortune India's The Next 500. Big thank you and dhanyavad to our presenters, our guest of honor, our chief guest. Can we give a big round of applause? We have a small token of appreciation. Mr. Rajiv Dubey, I'll request you to please give away this token of appreciation from Fortune India. Thank you, Shri Sonowal ji, our chief guest. Thank you, Shri Meghwal ji, our guest of honor. Can we give a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for our chief guest for the day? We have a photo opportunity for all our winners, so please don't go anywhere. May we request Mr. Arun Singh, Business Head, Fortune India, to kindly propose the vote of thanks, followed by a photo opportunity. एक group photograph सभी winners की हमारे chief guests और guest of honor के साथ लेंगे. Mr. Arun Singh, ladies and gentlemen, Business Head, Fortune India, on stage to propose the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay, winners, please stay, everybody, please stay back. There's a group photograph and then a sit-down dinner for the winners. Sir.
Thank you, Sonam. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As we come to the end of today's program, on behalf of Team Fortune India, I'd like to thank our honorable chief guest for the evening, Shri Sarbanand Sonowalji, Union Minister for Port, Shipping and Waterways and Minister for Ayush, for taking out time and sharing his deeply inspiring words with all of us. I would also like to extend our gratitude to our guest of honor, Shri Arjun Ram Meghwalji, Union Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs and Minister of State for Culture, and Mr. Amitabh Kant, CEO Niti Aayog, for being with us this evening and sharing their valuable thoughts. Special thanks to our distinguished speakers and panelists for bringing forth diverse views and perspectives. This evening would not have been possible had it not seen the success and encouragement from the eminent members of Fortune India, the next 500 companies, and our esteemed guests. I know many of you have specially traveled from far off to be with us today and celebrate this evening. We truly appreciate your gesture. I'd like to take this moment to thank all our partners who not only believe in our vision to create and build on a property like Fortune India, the next 500, but also support it thoroughly. Each of our partners is leader in its category and achiever in its own right. I'd like to thank our presenting partner, Lenovo India, whose support has been very, very encouraging. I would also like to thank our powered by partner, HSBC, time partner, Frederick Constant, hospitality partner, the Lalit, marketing partner, Creatiges, and telecast partner, ET Now. Thank you everyone for being with us today and hope to see you next year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Arun. Thank you so much, sir. May I request all the winners, and एक बार फिर से मैं request करूँगी हमारे chief guest, my sir, please, all the winners would love to have a photograph with you. So a group photo opportunity. Winners, Fortune India team, please come forward. Mr. Rajiv Dubey, Mr. Arun Singh. Our sectoral award winners are rising stars at Fortune, the next 500, to please come forward. May I request the panelists, the winners, to kindly stay back for a sit-down dinner in the hall. And for our delightful guests today, all the lovely guests, dinner's being served in the pre-function area. Also a bit of surprise for everybody. Log on to Frederick Constant Instagram page, scan the QR code, you have a gift awaiting. I'll repeat that. Scan the QR code, log on to Frederick Constant Instagram page. We have a nice gift awaiting for all of you. Dinner is in the pre-function area. Thank you for joining us, all of our delightful guests today. Sit down dinner for our panelists and winners. May we request you to please stay back. हमारे panelists और winners से request है कृपया hall में ही रहे. We have a sit down dinner for all of you.
pertinent questions facing Indian enterprises. Surmounting the challenges posed by the pandemic, these enterprises continued providing employment to millions of Indians. Join us as we honor these sectoral and rising stars that form the bulwark
The QR code
of
in the goodie
Indian
bag.
economy.
You can scan it on the Frederick Constant Instagram page, and there's a nice gift awaiting all of you. You'll find the QR code in the goodie bag. Please stay back for a sit-down dinner. Requesting winners, our panelists, our guests to not leave the hall and kindly stay back. The next 500 companies, they can collect their certificate from the registration counter. Kindly please collect your certificate from the registration counter. The next 500 companies. Thank you.